guys, Raya here, and welcome back to the channel. Today I wanted to do something very special because it's something I've been thinking over recently, and I have made up my mind about this list. Before I get into this, I do want to give a couple disclaimers. One, this is not me saying what the best albums are. This is just my personal favorite albums. Two, some of these albums are very basic choices, and you're just gonna look at it and be like, oh, that's so cliche, and I understand that. And then I have a few that are just kind of like outside the box picks as well. But generally speaking, I have a pretty basic music taste, and I do want to kind of just put that out there. So if you don't want to hear me talking about the Beatles or like Pink Floyd, then just click off the video now, because like that's where this is going to go. The third disclaimer I want to make is that this is absolutely subject to change over time. Some of the placements are kind of easy to swap around, and also as I listen to more albums, or there are albums that might grow on me and become one of my favorite albums. And I want to be very clear that about a couple things going into this, that for what albums I consider my favorite albums of all time, basically the album has to have 0 skips, with one exception we'll get to. But generally speaking, the album has to have 0 skips, in my opinion, for me personally. And it has to really feel like a cohesive project, and like just kind of get down to it. And there are a lot of like albums that I love that are like really great albums that I just don't really consider to be my like top favorite albums, but there's definitely some that have meant a lot to me over the years. American Beauty, American Psycho by Fall Out Boy comes to mind. Another one is Blur's self-titled album from 1997, and I could go down a whole slew of Beatles albums that are not the ones I'll be discussing in this video, particularly albums like Rubber Soul, and even the White Album, which I made a whole video about why that album clicks for me, and it's brilliant. Albums like Medals by Feist were favorites of mine in middle school, and there's just a whole bunch of stuff. Sarah Bareilles was one of my favorite singers in middle school, and her albums have held up insanely well. And generally, there's just a whole bunch of albums that I do really love, and you know, narrowing it down to a top 10, you know, I could kind of probably make a top 20 and have a better idea. Bad by Michael Jackson is another really great album. A basic choice, but, and yes, it is better than Thriller, in my opinion. There's really not too much else to say here, other than those are my favorite albums. 25 by Adele has meant a lot to me. Talking pop albums, obviously, like Future Nostalgia, that album is fantastic. Another one is 1989 by Taylor Swift. And just listening to Red, I feel like Red has potential to like move up on a list. I'm just kind of new to Red, so I couldn't really include Taylor Swift on here just because I don't think any of her albums are like no skip. But 1989 is up there for me, and as well as it would definitely be like in my top 15. So most of these are not really pop albums; they're like rock or indie. Another thing I want to just get out there is I don't listen to a lot of like rap. Not that there's anything wrong with rap. I think rap is good. I just don't really listen to like rap albums or country albums either. Those are like two different genres, but you get the point. So without further ado, I'm going to get into what my top 10 personal favorite albums are. Obviously, these are my picks. I do want to be very clear, again, this is my opinion, so don't jump down my throat and say, well, that album sucks, or where's Led Zeppelin 4? Like, don't jump down my throat, please. This is literally just the albums that have meant the most to me over the years, and the albums that I just find I never tire of, and that basically don't have any skips, and I can just always put on, depending on the mood, and that's just really where we're at with it. So that is all I really have to say to like preface the kind of conversation before I get into it properly. So that's basically it. So let's get into it with my number 10 pick, which is definitely maybe by Oasis. Now this sticker is kind of bad. So you can't actually read the title. which is kind of regretful. I'll take this out so you can actually look at it. I love the album cover. And no, I'm not going to be rating these albums on what they aesthetically look like. I could make a whole video about album aesthetic, and I think that's actually a really interesting topic. But obviously here I'm talking about the music. I'm talking about why these albums have meant a lot to me. And this is their debut album by Oasis. This was not the first Oasis album I heard, and I actually got into Oasis in a very weird roundabout way. I saw Todd in the Shadow's video about Be Here Now, and obviously, like, I had heard Wonderwall, and then because I started getting into 90s music about the same time my dad got into 90s music, although we do definitely have very different tastes in 90s music, with some overlap. We both like Alanis Morissette, we both, what else do we like? Like, some of the stuff we like is similar, but we kind of have different tastes when it comes to 90s music. Anyway, I was exposed to Oasis through a negative review of Be Here Now, and I feel like I heard some of the songs. I heard, like, Do You Know What I Mean? I heard those songs, because I'm a really big Beatles fan, and we'll get to that. Like I said, I mean, spoilers, but, like, yeah. I've been a big Beatles fan since I was about 12. Like, the Beatles are one of the first bands I ever remember listening to, so I feel like I heard some of the Oasis tracks and I was like, this actually sounds good, I want to listen to it, and then I, like, went through and watched a bunch of music videos, including, like, All Around the World, which, you know, very Beatles-esque, kind of Yellow Submarine style music video. I have very old videos on this channel, which I'm planning on privatizing. I'm working on redoing my channel right now. But I have very old videos where I talked about when I got into Oasis and all that, and just most of my old videos and my most opinions are, like, very cringy, and I hate most of my old videos. I want to be blunt with that. So I definitely plan on talking about any like, albums or anything that I've talked about before. I definitely plan on, you know, revisiting in their own rights. Be Here Now, I've made multiple videos talking about it, which are not very good, but I do plan on talking about it again in an upcoming video, but it's a larger project than just talking about that album. So obviously Be Here Now was, like, the disaster third album after the stellar first two albums, and we may or may not get to that other album later on, but definitely maybe being the debut record, and wow, I don't usually hear bands debut with one of their, like, best albums or some, like, really great material, or just, like, early career material. I mean, if you look at, like, the Beatles, they debuted with Please Please Me, which is fine, but I mean, you see, you know, the heights they went on. I mean, Pink Floyd debuted with Piper, which is a good album, but, like, very different kind of sounding. Like, a lot of groups don't really debut in ways that people find all that memorable. I mean, Oasis, like, big rival band was Blur, and they debuted with Leisure, which is an album that is fine. I listened to it before. I don't really, you know, and, like, most bands or artists, like, even if you take artists, you take, like, Taylor Swift, you take pop artists, and, like, most of them just didn't debut on a high note. That's just typically not the case, and I do think there is kind of, something, it is very risky, kind of, when you do debut with something really good, because then people will be looking up to it for the rest of your career, and I feel like that's kind of, it can be seen as a negative thing and affect the perception of a band, which then in turn can affect the actual quality of the content that's being put out, because there's, like, this pressure to, like, remake, oh, hey, can you remake this album? And I mean, obviously that happens with every band. Like, everybody, like, hey, can you remake Darkseid and Moon? It's like, but that was their, like, 7th album, and you just see, like, a lot of bands don't really debut with really, like, high quality, some of their best material, and there are some, like, solid debut albums. I'm not an expert on this. Personally, I really like Boy by U2. I'm a big fan of U2. War is another album that is in my, like, top, like, 20, very album that I really love. But U2, I mean, I like prefer their earlier stuff, but again, that's kind of more of a preferential thing. Like, there's tons of people who prefer their later stuff, and that's not really the case with Oasis. I have seen some people stick up for, like Don't Believe the Truth, like their 2000s work. I've seen people in comments, like, kind of go on about it. I can see it to an extent. I'm definitely not in the camp that's like, oh, they never had good songs after What's the Story, Morning Glory, because, like, that's what, like, Todd in the Shadows said, and I'm just like, there were a lot of songs that were good. I feel like people just kind of, like, will dismiss that, but it's definitely a topic for another time. But I feel like the important thing here is what a stellar debut this is. Coming from a band that was very, very strong live act at the time. I mean, they've been working. I mean, Noel had been writing songs for a few years. Like, it wasn't like, oh, this was just some new thing. And it's kind of one of those things where, like, where a lot of follow-ups tend to suffer, and obviously that didn't happen in this case, but we'll get to it. But a lot of follow-ups kind of tend to suffer because they have years working their debut songs, because they just tour them for years and then finally release their album, and then the follow-up's like, oh crap, we gotta release something. And I feel like that's what a lot of people, like, fall victim to. I mean, like, Hootie and the Blowfish were a band that, like, completely blew up off of, like, live shows, and they made their debut album and it was everywhere, and then they had to follow it up, and they're like, oh, I don't know, like, these are the songs we've been playing for 3 years, like, and that's kind of where we're at. But yeah, with Oasis, I feel like, any of the clips, from, like, back in their, like, debut era, their live shows were really, really good. From all, like, footage I have seen, specifically, like, from this album, this has some of my favorite vocal performances, from Liam Gallagher. You got, like, Live Forever, that, like, falsetto bit that, like, everyone knows, it's just, like, hearing it live even, from back in the day, it's absolutely insane. The kind of thing that he's not really able to do nowadays. I mean, a lot of people cannot sing, like, that's not me shading him, because, like, a lot of singers with age just, you know, this is what happens, but, he just had these, like, incredible vocal performances, something like Slide Away, which is just, like, such a, like, rich kind of song with, like, so many layers to it, and, it kind of just goes, you know, like that. Live Forever, like I said, being the, like, big single people remember off of this, besides Supersonic, which, what a single to debut with, like, oh my god, like, that song, it just, the like, amount of swagger that is in that song, this is the album. I don't believe, Noel does any singing on this album, maybe backing vocals, I'm not sure, but, this is the album, it's all Liam, you know, before Noel kind of started taking over more of, like, the other, like, aspects of the band. He obviously, you know, plays guitar, he wrote all of the songs, you got, like, this, just incredible, I mean, that incredible riff on Supersonic. The album opens with Rock and Roll Star, which is just a really solid opener. Shaker Maker sounds like that old Coke ad, which I like, and like I said, Live Forever being the song that it is, but a lot of people tend to sleep on, I don't really see the deep cuts from this brought up as much, aside from, like, Slide Away, that's the one that I see get talked about a lot, which, well deserved, but Columbia, this is one of my favorite Oasis songs. I love just the build of it, and, like, the main melody is just so good, the riffs just kind of goes through, and, like, the verses, you know, when I kind of first heard the song, it's a song about being, like, in love and being confused, and then, I kind of realized, well, it's called Columbia, I think it's about drugs, and you just got this, like, kind of, like, vibe of, like, I don't know how to feel, like, whoa, and it's just got that, like, really, like, kind of what you'd imagine being on drugs feels like. I don't know, because I've never done drugs, but, you know, it's kind of, like, feel you can have Up in the Sky is another just, like, really fun deep cut with some amazing falsetto from Liam, oh my god. I was talking about the vocal performances being really good on this. Cigarettes and Alcohol is kind of a weird one. It's a classic song for sure, but just the way he, like, butchers all of his vowels, it's kind of fun, kind of humorous, but, there's a couple songs in here that I don't find to be as interesting to Bring It On Down and Digsy's Dinner, but those are still catchy songs. Digsy's Dinner particularly is a really catchy song. And the closer is Married with Children, and this is kind of thing we'll be revisiting that I like my albums to have cohesion. Your opener is Rock and Roll Star and your closer is Married with Children. It's the only acoustic song on this album. It's an acoustic ballad where the idea is basically dissing like an ex, or like like, I'm just like, there's no need for you to say you're sorry, goodbye, I'm going home. Like, bye, I'm just gonna pack my bags and leave. And divorce and leaving your exes and leaving relationships is a theme we'll definitely be revisiting. But kind of thing, you got that, but it's also like a great way to end. Like, imagine if this album was being played, you know, front to back. I don't know if it would live, but imagine, you know, that's how you would end a live show, like, goodbye, I'm going home. It just fits so well. It's like how you end an album. And to me, the best albums should like, sound good live. Like, if you release it live, you know, it's something that sounds incredible. Any performances I've seen from back in the day, just absolutely incredible, or as Liam would say, biblical. But, that's really all that there is. This is just an absolutely stellar debut record, and, it did take me a bit longer to, like, really appreciate it, but, once I did, this is something I can always kind of return to. I don't get sick of it. It's just a really great record. So, for number 9, I have Drastic Fantastic by Katie Tunstall. So, Katie Tunstall is probably, I don't want to say she's necessarily my favorite solo singer, because I have a lot, like I said, I love Taylor Swift and Ariana Grande, and then, just in general, I have lots of solo singers that I like, but I find Katie Tunstall to be very underrated. She's kind of kept alive in the U.S., you know, just from, like, coffee shops, Walmart radio. I hear Other Side of the World at Walmart, and I still hear, like, Black Horse and the Cherry Tree, Suddenly I See. And all of those songs were off of her debut album, Eye to the Telescope, which is a decent record. I do like Eye to the Telescope, but it's not my favorite album by her by a long shot. And this is her sophomore album, which, again, I really like sophomore albums. We'll get into this. Which is called Drastic Fantastic. And she, for those who don't know, she's a Scottish singer-songwriter. She makes kind of like rock, folktronica, just like different types of music. You know, plays a lot of her own instruments, does that kind of thing with layering and production. And it's just genuinely just a really cool, chill person, from what I can tell. So if you haven't listened to anything by her, or you've only heard, like, Black Horse and the Cherry Tree or any of those songs, definitely check out this album, because this is my favorite album by her. It's just such a good collection of songs, really, and it feels well sequenced. It does not overstay its welcome. And again, it's just really, really nice, and I really, really wish she would be more recognized in the U.S. I also really like 2010's Tiger Suit. Definitely check that out. And I might even be willing to say Tiger Suit is a better album. It's a better sequenced album, but this album is very near and dear to my heart. I've loved this album for a long time. And even when you see songs like Funny Man, like, she has an acoustic performance of it, and she has really good acoustic performances. She has, like, a really unique and kind of soulful voice. You know, she does, like, weird things to her vowels as well. And just kind of, like, she can croon, she can belt, she can do, like, this low, like, husky kind of thing. And, I really love that about her. Her voice is just extremely versatile, and, you can see that kind of thing. And like I said, a lot of the, a good comparison I can think of in terms of albums is with Avril Lavigne. Avril Lavigne, you know, she debuted with Let Go, and her follow-up was Under My Skin, and how Under My Skin was kind of a more slicked-up version of Let Go, production-wise. It was, like, more slicked up, but still had, like, a lot of the acoustic instruments and stuff. And that's kind of where this album is. Whereas Tiger Suit's, like, a full-on folktronica album. This is more of a, just kind of, still kind of like indie rock kind of album. Opens up with Little Favors, which is one of my favorite songs. Just a super forceful opener. It just goes really into this. Most of these are love songs about relationships. If Only is kind of a song like about a failed relationship, and it's honestly just like that bridge. The bridge is like so good. It goes into White Bird, which is one of the acoustic songs on this album, and it's absolutely gorgeous. You can really see her versatility or her voice from that. Funny Man is a song which is, you know, just like got this like really great like fuzz guitar, and just the way one thing I really like about her writing, like the lyrics themselves aren't really necessarily deep, but like the cadence of it and like the meter, I really like that about her writing. And that's something that I've always loved. Hold On is an absolute banger, and this is a song that it feels very desperate, and it's a song that I can definitely like relate to. And you got the kind of like satire slash kind of like cynical look of a song like Hopeless, where she's basically self-deprecating but in kind of a comical way, which is you know, just this kind of like happy little acoustic song about being hopeless, and it's just like and I Don't Want You Now, just another like really like upbeat kind of banger. Saving My Face, fantastic song, kind of got that dark kind of 80s style song kind of scent. It's mainly just like guitar, bass. She goes out there and has an absolutely killer chorus. And again, I really like the like dark kind of 80s vibe of it. Like a lot of my favorite 80s songs are like the dark stuff. Like I said, I really like Michael Jackson. I'm a big fan of like the Human League, Don't You Want Me. Like a lot of the like really kind of dark sounding songs, and I love Saving My Face for that reason. Beauty of Uncertainty is my favorite song on the album. It's one of my favorite songs of all time. It's just this great song that starts off very low and acoustic, and you know, has like the verses and stuff. It's pretty like quiet. It doesn't really have a chorus. It just kind of like has several verses that kind of repeat, and the instrumental just gets like more layered each time. So it starts off with like just the acoustic guitar, and then you've got the bass, and then there's like a synth, and like it just keeps getting more and more layered every time. And then it kind of switches gears halfway through, and she goes into this like different riff, and then starts layering like vocals and just like all this other kind of things onto this riff, and it is absolutely amazing. I love songs that have like a huge like bombastic swell to them, and it does. And also just like the subject matter of the song, seeing the beauty of uncertainty is something that like really means a lot to me, because it's something that when I was younger I used to be very anxious about. I still struggle with anxiety about uncertainties and not knowing what's going to happen and wanting to have everything laid out, and sometimes the best laid plans just don't work out, and that's kind of what you have to see the like positives in that. The album ends with 2 acoustic songs, Someday Soon and Paper Airplane. I really like Someday Soon. It's just a really nice melody, and Paper Airplane is about, you know, this guy who just kind of isn't, you know, really landing on anything kind of in this relationship. It's just not working out, and there's no real like sense of resolution to this. It just kind of ends on this like acoustic note. You can sort of see this as a breakup album. I definitely do see like the different phases, and you kind of see at the end there like the acceptance of, hey, this is never gonna work, you know, and it's something that I really, really just appreciate about this record, and I've always have. And again, the music is just really solid. If you've never listened to this, please check it out. I implore you. Check out Tiger Suit as well. KG Tunstall is incredibly talented, and she deserves so much more love in the US, and honestly, she's still making music. She made an album in 2018 called Wax, which is actually really good. So again, check it out. She is just absolutely amazing, and yeah, I don't really have, if there's like one takeaway from this video, is listen to KG Tunstall. Like, that is like my one takeaway that I want y'all to take from this video, because I feel like most of these other bands and artists are like pretty well known in the US, but that's not the case with her. You know, again, I'm just like, please go listen to this. Like, I beg you to go listen to this. Alright, so moving on now to my number 8 pick, which is The Open Door by Evanescence. So for those who don't know that I'm a really big Evanescence fan, you know, this might be a surprising pick for those who do know me, that I saw them live. I'm seeing them live again next month, if everything works out, and I am a huge, huge Evanescence fan, and I think specifically the reason Evanescence has meant so much to me, besides them just having a super, like, unique kind of sound with just, like, the, like, rock and, like, metal elements mixed with Amy Lee's, like, angelic vocals, the piano, all that, you know, I just think their sound is really great. But I think why their music meant so much to me personally was I kind of found their music when I was deconstructing my religion, and you kind of got like, well, you know, you can write music that's religious or very spiritual, and it doesn't have to be, like, preachy or, like, you know, down your throat. Because I used to listen to a lot of, like, contemporary Christian music, and Evanescence is not like that. I mean, the songs, you got, like, Amy Lee, some of her songs where she just, like, it's very real, it's very honest. She talks about real life issues, and mental health and grief. Those are two things that she talks about on her songs. Her sister passed away when she was very young, so you've got, like, Hello, I'm Fallen, which is a song about that. And like I said, with mental health, you've got songs, just overall where she touches on it, and something like Tourniquet on Fallen again, and just, like, Imaginary being about dissociation. That's my favorite song on that album. And Fallen is their debut album. It's a really fantastic record. Like I said, Haunted being about just, like, something very off and, like, possibly sexual assault, and just, like, the kind of thing. It's very, like, creepy. And then goes into, like, Tourniquet and then Imaginary, which is just, like, a great 3-track run on that album. And I think I've always just appreciated, because of, like, the way she just writes, like, music that's very, very honest, and I've always felt, you know, like, I can see something kind of in the lyrics. It's just, like, very relatable and very raw, and her performances definitely elevate that. And this is the sophomore album of Evanescence, The Open Door, and this is my favorite Evanescence record. I said I do really like Fallen. I like their self-titled album from 2011. I like The Bitter Truth to an extent, but we're here with this, and it's just genuinely an album that I really, really love. If anyone has heard any songs off this, it's probably Call Me When You're Sober, and Lithium. Lithium is my favorite song on the record. It's my favorite Evanescence song. It is an absolutely stunning song. Starts as a piano ballad, and it gets this, like, really great crescendo. The bridge is just incredible. It's a song about, you know, wanting to feel something, wanting to know what it feels like without the lithium, and it is just genuinely such an emotionally affecting song to me. Call Me When You're Sober is a breakup song about basically trying to tell this guy, like, hey, like, make up your mind about it, and then, like, you never call me when you're sober. And at the end, she's just, like, packing her bag. That's what I'm saying. It's a theme we'll be revisiting throughout this thing. But it's that song just really great. The album opens with Sweet Sacrifice, which is just a really solid, you know, song to open on. It's a good song to, like, open a show as well. It's just, like, kind of a banger. And she just sounds really great on it, and it's almost got this kind of, like, scathing, like, sarcasm to it. And it's just really great. Goes into Call Me When You're Sober, and then Weight of the World, which is another one of my favorites here. I just love, like, the chorus just feels so big and impactful. And, you know, those songs are all kind of upbeat, kind of faster paced, and then you get into, like, Lithium, which is a very slow kind of ballad, but it builds and builds the tension. Goes into Cloud 9, which is another song that I just absolutely love. And again, talking about, like, being confused about reality. It's a very similar theme to Imaginary off of Fallen. And Cloud 9, I really love how the song sounds like, just production-wise as well, but it starts off with her voice, you know, being, like, filtered. So it almost sounds like it's not real, and then she just, like, comes to it for, like, raw vocal with, like, guess it wasn't real after all, and then goes into the chorus, which is absolutely incredible. Again, Snow White Queen, just a really great, like, theatrical sounding song. Going into Lacrimosa, which is a song which has a classical interpolation. It's a breakup song with this, like, really intense classical interpolation that just works so well. Like You is a really beautiful piano ballad. And Lose Control is just, like, another good rock song. The Only One is another song which, you know, actually builds up a lot of tension and talks about, you know, takes a bit of a political and or kind of religious stance, and I really like that. Your Star's another just really pretty, like, song of piano. And we've got All That I'm Living For, which is just another really, like, iconic song, a great melody, and Good Enough is the closer, which is another really beautiful piano ballad. And I do like how those ballads are kind of sprinkled throughout the, like, heavier rock songs on this album. And the like elegance of it, I just feel like the album is well structured. The elegance of it works really, really well. And overall, just the songs on this thing are just incredible. And If you haven't taken Evanescence seriously, please, like, actually check them out. I know a lot of people don't like to take them seriously because they're just a "Wake Me Up" band, but definitely, like, just listen to this album. It's really fantastic, and that's all I can really say about that. Moving on to my number 7 pick, "Speak for Yourself" by Imogen Heap. So, for those who are unaware who Imogen Heap is, she's this indie kind of electronic singer, songwriter. She's from England. She's made a lot of these songs kind of for a while now. Y'all probably know her from What You Say, which is a line from her song Hide and Seek, which is on this album. It was a song that was sampled in Jason Derulo's What You Say. It was also just kind of a meme, like a meme sound that gets spread around. It was in a movie or a show, I forget. And then it's just a song that gets used, like, even on, like, TikTok nowadays. And it's a meme that's never really died, but I feel like this is her debut album. Her debut album is I Megaphone, which is kind of a more standard kind of 90s, late 90s indie pop rock album. And then she did a collab with another musician to make Frou Frou, which is a band, and they had an album as well. If you know Frou Frou, the song Let Go was on the Garden State soundtrack. And then in 2005, she came back and made Speak for Yourself. And this is a pretty much completely self-made project, written and produced by Imogen Heap, and it is an absolutely incredible achievement. And I just absolutely love, like, this record. It's absolutely crazy. She made the album pretty much alone in her studio, and it's just absolutely out there and incredible. I feel like Hide and Seek is kind of where I have to start, because that's a song that, it was, that everyone knows the What You Say bit, but it's this very, like, haunting a cappella track. It's basically this, kind of goes into this thing from a perspective, of this, like, little girl who's playing hide and seek in the house with all the furniture and stuff, but her parents are arguing. And it's something that my dad said that he really liked the song because his parents split up when he was 7, so it's kind of an example of that. It's just this really interesting a cappella song, and one cool thing about Imogen Heap is that she actually releases instrumental versions of her albums, because she puts so much work and effort into the, like, actual music, the instrumentals of the album. And when she released the instrumental version of this album, she had to replace Hide and Seek altogether with an instrumental called Cumulus, because Hide and Seek is just completely a cappella. And just the way the vocals are layered, it's absolutely incredible. But most of the album is not like that. Most of the album is not a cappella. It's got a lot of kind of electronic elements to it, a lot of, like, glittery synths. Imogen Heap has, like, a really, really pretty voice, very, very kind of, I guess I'd say, conventionally British singing voice, but in a very pretty, kind of elegant type of way, which works really well with the electronic elements here. Headlock being the opener, it's just a really intense song. It starts off very, like, quiet with the synths, and then it gets into this, like, kind of the bridge is, like, this super intense breakdown. And this song, I kind of say, if you like that one part in Dare by Gorillaz where it's like, never did no harm, but it's the, like, glittery synth on that part, you will like this song. Like, that is literally the best comparison I can think of. Good Night and Go is the second track. You might know this one because Ariana Grande did a pseudo cover of this song on Sweetener. Not one of my favorites on the album, honestly. It's well written, just doesn't really stick out to me as much. Have You Got It In You is this really haunting song, which just takes these, like, kind of worldly sounds and just mixes it all into this intense emotional thing. Loose Ends has this great kind of a cappella hook. It's not really all a cappella, but it's got this, like, looped vocal melody, which is super catchy, over the kind of synth work, and again, just super well written. These are all songs about breakups and relationships, and they're just super well written. Clear the Area, which comes after Hide and Seek, is kind of like Call Me When You're Sober in terms of lyrical content. It's an album it's a song that just is kind of about this guy who's always out drinking and doing all this stuff, and she just wants him to just like come back down like to earth, kind of. Daylight Robbery is one of my favorite songs on this album. It is absolutely insane. It's got this, kind of standard electronic thing. Once it gets to the chorus, it kind of explodes with this, like, guitars and this, like, heavier rock sound, which is not something I am ever used to hearing from her. And this is one of her only songs in her discography which is like this, and it just absolutely is awesome. We've got these, like, really pretty, like, falsetto vocals on top of this, like, heavy rock, which, again, a lot like Amy Lee, in a sense. Moving into The Walk, which is a song that has such a great synth, like, progression. And, again, the bridge is just absolutely incredible, the way the bridge builds up. Just for Now is a really pretty song. It's not entirely a cappella, but it has a lot of those elements. And it's actually this really pretty little song, love song. And then we have I Am in Love with You, which has this kind of fuzz synth, breakdown, taking some kind of hip-hop influences on this song. Closing in is an absolutely astounding song. It has so much depth and layers in the production. It's just insane that this was all self-produced. And the moment I said it being the closer, this is a song that typically I don't, wouldn't say, like, normally, like, slow ballads like that don't do it for me, but this song being the closer, just this kind of reflection on this relationship and, the regretfulness of it. But it has, like, several sections where it kind of, like, it starts off very acoustic, and then you've got these, like, different vocal sections, and it just kind of builds in a way, and then kind of, like, eventually just kind of tapers off, and, like, it's, like, 6 minutes, and it's a really fantastic way to close the album. The structuring of this thing is immaculate. Again, I just can't get enough. The songs themselves are pretty much all fantastic. Very good to fantastic. And if you've never listened to this whole album, or if you've heard Hide and Seek and, like, never listened to this album, please check this out. It is just such an incredible album, and is an album that's meant so much to me for such a long time. At number 6, we have Viva La Vida by Coldplay. So, here we are with an album that, I had another kind of roundabout way of getting into this, and getting into Coldplay. In addition, the thing about Coldplay, though, is that this is the only album of theirs that really does it for me. I like other Coldplay songs. I think Rush of Blood to the Head's a pretty good album. But generally, I don't really sit down and say, man, that Coldplay album was really good, wasn't it? And I find them to be a decent band. I don't really find their albums or their compositions to ever really stick out to me. But this is an exception. Viva La Vida, the album, is absolutely incredible. The way I was actually introduced to this was through a string tribute, and the fact that somebody made a string tribute to the entire album just goes to show how rich and fantastic all of these melodies are on this record. I'm sure everyone's heard the title track, Viva La Vida, which is just a fantastic pop song. I can't believe it was actually a song that hit number 1. Just incredible stuff. And, I mean, as far as soft rock goes, Coldplay are very fine. They're very good at it. I think most people know, you either kind of love or hate them. I understand people who dislike stuff like Yellow, which is kind of mopey or whatever. I personally like the song. But going into Viva La Vida, you've got this, overarching theme, which is about life and death. It's Viva La Vida or Death and All His Friends. And you've got this, like, overarching theme of the songs kind of switching back and forth between life and death concepts, and it just has this really great progression, and this is a perfect looping album. What I mean by that is the first song on the album is a really beautiful instrumental called Life in Technicolor, and again, there are, like, a lot of traditional rock instruments on here. You got guitars, drums, bass, all that, but it also has a lot of, like, strings and, like, other elements which just make it really stick out, and the melodies themselves are just so well written, it's just a really great, like, kind of really, like, energizing, kind of happy kind of start to the album before you get into the dark and the sinister of Cemeteries of London, which is my favorite song on the record. Just got this, like, sinister piano over this, like, darker kind of vocal performance, and it really, really builds up the way it goes. And unlike some of the other kind of, like, lyrics Whereas, like, if a band like Oasis, I feel like some of the lyrics can be kind of vague, but you can get down to the emotional core of it. It's like, okay, this is about being in love. This is about a breakup. This is about drugs. Like, you can get down to the emotional core of, like, what the song's about, whereas that's not really the case here. It's just all very vague and poetic, and it's just kind of like, it all feels like confused and like a search for life, like a soul-searching kind of album, and that's why I love it. This song is just a song which has this great, like I said, this great build, this great progression. There's almost kind of a medievally or Renaissance-y kind of feel about the album outside of the Renaissance painting on the cover, but, you've got this kind of like, just this feeling of like, the, like, very kind of, medievally sounds, just very, like, acoustic-y. You got, like, the hand claps and stuff here, but again, it's all very slick production. It's all very, well made, done in the studio, but just has those, like, elements of, like, love and war and, like, that kind of language, and very poetic. Going into Lost, which is a song that just, deals with the issues of trying to find where you're going in life, and again, just has a really beautiful melody, but it's like a song that's learning. It has this, like, uplifting kind of tone to it, and just a great thing. 42 is a song that starts off with this, like, very melancholic kind of piano line, and again, just the, like, vagueness of the lyrics, like, those who are dead are not dead, they're just living in my head. And it goes into this, like, fat, like, more upbeat part with this, like, electric violin, and, it just, like, really has this, like, entirely separate, like, section on the bridge. Lovers in Japan / Reign of Love, another song that just, like, is really pretty. It's a love song, or it's a song about two lovers in Japan. And Reign of Love is just this really nice kind of ballad that closes that out. Yes is a song about lust. It is very intense, very dark sounding with the strings and stuff. They got this, like, weird, like, plucking string, and you just really sense the narrator's desperation as he gets, like, just wanting this person to acknowledge him, or just say yes to him, and just getting this, like, kind of hungry, kind of lustful, like, just desperation that goes through it. Viva La Vida, we've all heard the song before. I don't think I really need to say it has that kick with the electric violin. I think we all know it. We all love it. Violet Hills, another song that just has this very dark kind of, almost like medievally kind of war kind of imagery. You've got, like, the Crusades and stuff and all this in the, like, imagery, but it's a love song. It's a song, about the desperation of, if you love me, let me know. Strawberry Swing is a really sweet, kind of almost country-ish kind of sounding song, and it ends with Death and All His Friends, which is a ballad, and it goes kind of through these different sections, and then the instrumental part at the end, when I say it's a perfectly looping album, it fades out, and then it starts off with the way Life in Technicolor starts. So it's an album that you can leave on loop forever, and I love that. And, to me, I see that as, like, the cycle of life and death, and that's just, like, how it is. And fantastic record, highly recommended, and this has meant so much to me for so long. It is such a fantastic record. Moving on to number 5. The Beatles, Abbey Road. So, I'll keep this a little bit more brief because I think everyone has already knows about this album. This was the last Beatles album, kind of. Let It Be happened, but it's a weird thing with that. But to me, this is the end of the Beatles. And, this album, oh my god. And, this is an exception to saying that there can be no skips, because Octopus Garden is okay, and I really hate Maxwell Silverhammer, so there are skips on this album. However, I think having that like, medley more than makes up for it. Again, I just really feel this intense, just vibe to it. How the first side is, like, all these, like, songs, and then the second side is just this, like, medley, and this was such a good ending for the Beatles. Just absolutely incredible record, very mature in types of songwriting for them. They had really matured at that point as songwriters. Starting off with Come Together, which, speaking of songs that don't make any sense, I still don't know what the song's about. There's a lot of theories about it lyrically, but you got that, sick-ass bass line that's still iconic. Everybody hears that song everywhere. Something is one of the greatest love songs ever written. I don't think I need to, elaborate on that statement. I actually really hate Maxwell Silverhammer. It's annoying. But Oh Darling is this really great 50s inspired kind of rock jam. It just goes all out with, you know, Paul McCartney just absolutely killing the vocal performance. Octopus Garden is Ringo's song, it's fine. And then we have I Want You, She's So Heavy. And this song is actually so incredible. It's about 8 minutes, and it only has like two or three like lyrics, and basically John Lennon just takes this one like riff, this one like rhythm, and just continues building on it time and time again. And you know, he kind of takes this like, so there's two riffs. There's the like do 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 do, and then there's the like I want you do 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 do, I want you so bad. And like that part is like he does like all these different kind of vocal things. He keeps bringing that like refrain back just with different vocal elements. And then you've got that like chord progression at the end, you know how it starts off with that like do 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 do, and that comes back at the end, and it just keeps building and building, and you've got these like sounds which are just like a storm almost. You got this like sound effects which is like wind, and just like everything just keeps getting louder and louder, and then it just cuts abruptly. And oh my god. So obviously back in the day this was a vinyl, so you know you would have to like turn it over, you know, and now you can just listen to it on streaming and get like the full experience of just like, you know, the calm, you know, after the storm, the like just the sun coming out when the storm is over, which is Here Comes the Sun. And you know, it's a song that, you know, is, I believe it's the most streamed Beatles song on Spotify, if that tells you anything. And again, it's just a song that is absolutely, like, literally just such a, like, hopeful song for, like, all generations. It's such a simple song. I really love the bridge part where they're, like, harmonizing and you've got that keyboard run. Oh my god, it's so good. Going on to Because, holy shit, this is John, Paul, and George all singing the same melody and layering it 3 times over, and so it sounds like 9 voices. This is absolutely just a chilling experience. It gives you chills. It is so beautiful. And then we get into the medley. You Never Give Me Your Money is already like a multi-part kind of suite, and then it goes into Sun King, Me, Mr. Mustard, and Polythene Pam, She Came In Through the Bathroom Window, which just kick-ass rock song. And Paul McCartney really arranged this so well. Golden Slumbers being a lullaby where he just absolutely belts it out there. And going on to Carried At Weight the End in Her Majesty, which is the hidden track, which is kind of comical, but the end, it's like the perfect way for the band to end. Like I said, I could, you know, analyze this for hours, but I mean, you know, it's Abbey Road. What do you want me to say? Number 4, Fleetwood Mac, Rumors. This is another album that's probably been talked to death, so I'm not gonna go too, like, overboard with it, but just, wow. I feel like this is one of the few albums out there, this album and the next album I'll be talking about, where, like, pretty much every song could be a single, and it just has that vibe to it, where it's just, like, insane, and basically it just feels just like, you know, this album where it's just, it's a breakup album, and members of the band themselves were going through breakups, and they were arguing. They're like, well, I'm going to make you sing this shitty song about you, and it's this insane, like, kind of story that gets down, and I didn't really know Fleetwood Mac when I was younger, and I actually got exposed to them through Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, Through the Chain, which is one of my favorite songs of all time. It's my third favorite song of all time. We'll be getting to this as we continue, but I was like, this song is amazing, and then I, like, listened to Fleetwood Mac, and I was like, wait, I know all these songs, because they're, like, ubiquitously on every, like, supermarket radio. Fleetwood Mac have never gone away. They're just everywhere. And, Stevie Nicks, of course, she has just such a, like, magical voice, and, again, the harmonies on this record, oh my god, I think we can all agree that it's just something that's incredible. Secondhand News is just a song that's just, like, got this, like, very interesting kind of percussion. Apparently Mick Fleetwood was literally drumming on a chair, and, like, that was a thing, and it's just, you know, This kind of playful song, Dreams, is a classic. We all know it is. It went viral on TikTok for a fucking reason. I do think it's a weaker version of Rhiannon, but you do get the point. Never Going Back Again, I still hear on the coffee shop radio where I work. Don't Stop is a very upbeat, encouraging type song. Go Your Own Way, just one of the greatest breakup songs of all time. I don't like... It's a pretty hard, heavy rock song with just these fucking vocal melodies, fucking rips. The guitar and everything just goes in there. Songbird is this really beautiful ballad, and just wow. And you've got The Chain, which is my favorite song. Like I said, my third favorite song of all time. And we've got You Make Loving Fun, which is just a really fun, catchy song about one of their roadies. I Don't Want to Know, another just really upbeat, catchy song. And you've got Oh Daddy and Gold Dust Woman. And Gold Dust Woman, man, such a fantastic song. Just, boy. Like I said, The Chain being my favorite song of all time. The way it builds, it has this sense where it's kind of like a work song. And you've got this like, melody that just keeps coming back, and it builds and builds. It's got this like percussive nature to it, trying to break the chain. And it's such a fantastic song, the way it builds in tension, all the harmonies, and just, it's so incredible. And it would be an incredible song on its own. But then you've got that outro where they do finally break the chain, and it goes into this more electric kind of song. It just starts ripping. It's just this kind of thing where you want to like run through a field, and that's like what it makes you feel. And that is why I think The Chain is such a great song. But the entire record is just fantastic. It's got, you know, just all of these elements to it. Just absolutely incredible record. I don't really have words for it. Moving on to my number 3 pick now. I feel like this has been kind of talked to death already. Even though I haven't got to it yet, it's What's the Story, Morning Glory by Oasis. For those who, like, didn't see this coming, I'm sorry. For everyone else who saw this coming, congratulations, you guessed right, that this was on the list. So, I don't really think, I already talked definitely maybe to death, and I feel like What's the Story, Morning Glory, you know, being that sophomore album, maybe the greatest sophomore album of all time. I don't know. I'm willing to bet. And just absolutely incredible record. And again, just insanity. And this entire album, I kind of feel like how definitely maybe is like, yeah, a lot of it's like love songs and stuff, but it's like they come up and like, we're getting famous, we take drugs, we're cool. And then this is like, oh shit, we're famous, how do we cope with this? And like, and that is what makes me love this record. Sorry I'm beating it. It's a fucking messed up CD. It skips at Wonderwall. But basically, this is an album where I literally feel like everything could be a single. Except for one song particularly, which I'll get to, and obviously the, like, instrumental interludes, but that's not really relevant. That's just something that kind of helps off with the album. You know, everybody knows Wonderwall. It's one of the most talked songs to death. I get it. I get people are sick of it. Personally, I'll never be sick of Wonderwall. It is a fantastic song that, you know, it's just, I'm not really a big fan of adult contemporary. I'm not a big fan of acoustic ballads, but Wonderwall, I think has, I mean, I'd say really 3 things that separate it apart from other songs in that kind of genre. So I feel like the comparison I always like to make, I always like to talk about like Iris by the Goo Goo Dolls, which is a song that I do not like. And you just see this like, how fucking basic is Iris, you know? And people say like Wonderwall is basic, but I'm like, it really isn't, because to me, yeah, it's a basic chord structure, but like the idea of it is the 3 things which set it apart, and I think it shows that sometimes simple is best. And the 3 things setting it apart is Liam Gallagher's voice, the cello, and the emotional core of it. How sincere the song sounds, the sincerity. And yeah, and that's what you've got with Wonderwall. So the album starts off, you hear that riff from Wonderwall. If you know Wonderwall, it's just like you hear that guitar bit, and then it just kicks in. It just like switches gears completely, kicks into this like hard-hitting electric kind of thing with Hello. And again, this is a song that's like, first of all, great way to open your album. Second of all, just again, a song that just absolutely rips. And you've got, I don't believe this was ever a single, but it could have been. Like, God, this song was so good. I know back in the day they opened sets with it, because, I mean, come on. And, like, the writing itself in this, and again, and the whole, like, kind of themes of it's never going to be the same and all that, and you see that, and you're like, this is like, oh shit, I'm famous now, and a lot of this, I feel like, is Noel Gallagher reflecting on, oh shit, I'm famous, and that's why I like it. And, you got, Roll With It, which, you know, that one song that everyone either loves or hates, it's got 3 chords. It's like in a very basic song, but I mean the performance is absolutely sold. It was one of the first songs I remember playing for my dad that he said he liked the song. So it's definitely a song that's easy to get into, and it's not complex by any stretch of the imagination. But it is a song that, you know, is just iconic for those reasons. Going into Wonderwall, which of course, I need to talk about Wonderwall, like I already talked about it, but like, it's, I could say it's one of the greatest love songs ever written, but I'm not even sure if it's a love song. It's so confusing what Wonderwall is even about. And my dad has this, like, really interesting theory, and one of the things, before I continue, one of the things I love about Oasis, and, like, this album particularly, is how open to your interpretation I feel like all of the songs are, where, like, Noel Gallagher will either say, oh, it's about this, and then, oh, it's not about this, or he'll say he doesn't actually know what it's about, and it's like, you just wrote a song, you didn't know what it was about, and it's like, it's open to interpretation. You can interpret the song however you like, and I love that. Another artist who does that is Regina Spektor. She's this indie singer, and she will just, like, write lyrics, and people are like, well, what are your songs about? And she's like, I don't know. And it's just, like, this sense of, like, I'm so good, I don't need to explain what my songs are about. No, but, like, just this, like, incredible thing. Just absolutely insane. And Wonderwall, again, just a song that I really can't imagine Wonderwall with Noel's voice, or Don't Look Back in Anger with Liam's voice, and I mean, obviously there are demos out there and stuff, but it's just, like, crazy to me, because I believe Liam was offered a choice of which one to sing. Noel was like, I'm gonna sing one of these songs, you can choose which one you want to sing, and he chose Wonderwall, and, which I feel like he might regret nowadays, because Wonderwall is just such a, like, overdone, like, it's been covered by everybody, like, it's a song that Liam himself is sick of it, which I totally understand, as much as I still love the song. I mean, like, Robert Plant is sick of Stairway to Heaven, like, I get it, you know, having to play the same song over and over. Again, Don't Look Back in Anger, I kind of go back and forth on Wonderwall and Don't Look Back in Anger, which song I think is better, just because they're both really great. I feel like the former kind of has that, like, much more sincere emotional core. The latter soars a lot higher, but I do find both of the songs to be really solid songs. Of course, Don't Look Back in Anger, the first Oasis song we really heard Noel's voice on, it's just this really anthemic song chorus. God damn, it's so good. And then we get Hey Now, which is, again, just a really kind of kick-ass song, and again, a lot of concepts about fame here. The way this album works is there's 2 instrumental interludes, and they fit really well in the album just to kind of, like, keep the pace up. Goes into Some Might Say, which has an iconic opening riff, like, everyone knows. It's just, like, such a good, opening. It just goes into this, like, song, it's just, like, again, super anthemic. I just got this great vibe. And then we go into Cast No Shadow, which is the one song on this album I think never could have been a single, because it is too much of a deep cut type of song, and I feel the need to return to it. She's electric, just this really awesome, kind of upbeat kind of song. I really love the, like, opening of the song, and, you know, the lyrics are really fun, the video's fun, my dad likes the song. The harmonies at the harmonies at the end sound exactly like the Beatles circa Revolver era, like, holy shit. Just, like, the build of, like, Just a super cute song. Morning Glory is, you know, the next song, the title track. It absolutely rips, and Champagne Supernova is the closer. So I'm kind of wanting to go back onto those specific songs because I feel like there's a lot more to say. Cast No Shadow is one of my favorite songs of all time. This song was apparently written for Richard Ashcroft, which I did not know. But man, this song is just so emotionally affecting. It gives me chills. The harmonies between Noel and Liam. Liam sings lead, but there's a lot of like backup from Noel, and it just works so well. Just absolutely incredible song, and it's just something that really resonated with me from the moment I heard it. And again, the way this album ends really solidifies it as one of my favorite albums of all time. Morning Glory is this super electrifying, loud, you know, very in-your-face kind of song, and it's about cocaine. I think. I think cocaine. Yeah, it was definitely cocaine. No, Blur were heroin. Oasis were cocaine. Okay. So you've got this part where it just has this like very loud kind of riff, and it just goes straight into it. And the song again absolutely rips. The chorus, everything's just so memorable about it. The way it goes into the chorus, like the well, it's like. You might as well. What's the story, Morning Glory? And you kind of like, is it you might as well, or is it, well, what's the story, Morning Glory? And I love that. It's just like the way it goes into it, and also like the way you say it, because it became like, what's the story, Morning Glory? When you read it, it sounds like a nursery rhyme, but the way Liam belts it out, it's like. I'm not even gonna attempt it, but you get the idea. Like the way he does it is just absolutely fucking incredible. It just goes into it. Oh my god. So the song kind of fades out, and you've got these like helicopter noises, and almost like, oh, this person went to the hospital from cocaine overdose. Like it's got this like sense of like, okay, this got a bit too much, and it just kind of. And it's also just a song, it's like supersonic in the way that it just feels like insanely swag. Like I'm walking down the street with my fucking supersonic, like, I don't know, like I just have that vibe. And it's such a good song, really. So there's that. And then there's, the way the album ends is it has this kind of helicopter noise, and it goes into like the second instrumental interlude. You've got the harmonica, got all that, and just kind of like it's very like faded, and then you get like the waves washing up on the shore, and you get the guitar come in, and it's the intro to Champagne Supernova, which is my second favorite song of all time. And the way that song starts. And it starts off with very relaxing with, like, how many special people change. It just goes into that, and it's, like, so just incredible. And the song does not waste a second. I know it's a long song, but, it really feels anthemic. It's a song that's about life. It's a song about our journey through this little thing called life. It's a song about substance abuse. It's a song about rock stars and fame. It's a song about people who abuse substances in a way, you know, that's not helping. I mean, in a sense, it's like I'm gonna drink myself to death and just, like, explode, like Champagne Supernova. Like, it's crazy. And, I mean, I'm not condoning that, but I mean, it's, like, kind of, like, the most badass rock star move. I mean, saying that. Like, I mean, I saw a clip recently of Liam being like, when I get old, I'm just gonna get high and just do this and this and this, and, like, just not worry about it. I'm just gonna get high. Like, I was just like, okay. And I see that, and I'm like, okay, you know, you do you, right? And it's just, like, a sense of, like, that, like, just, it's, like, the most rock star move ever, and it just feels... but it's not necessarily glorifying. I mean, it's a song in a way, you know, how people do destroy their lives due to substances, and it's kind of like, this could happen. Like, fame is crazy, and, and, you know, it's come down from, like, the song about cocaine. Now we have the song about alcohol, and it's just, like, you know, it's crazy, and, there's the, like, two, like, bridge sections, which are the same, they're the same thing. It's a repeated refrain. But, I mean, I think the chorus is already super anthemic. And the chorus builds up a lot, like, throughout the song. It starts off kind of soft, and then you get, like, a louder chorus later on. But that bridge section, some people believe we're gonna get away from the summer. That part, oh my god! And, you know, I kind of read, like, what that lyric is about. And it's about how the Gallaghers, they grew up poor and they couldn't take, like, vacations, which is something that I can fucking relate to so fucking much. Yeah, and it's something that, like, and you see that, and it's like the sense of, like, you and I will never die. It's like live forever again, but it's like a metaphorical sense, like rock stars never die. And in the part where it's like the world's still spinning around, we don't know why, just gets to me every time. Like, I don't know what the fuck is going on either, but we're just here, trapped in this, like, mess that is life, and it's just, it is just such an amazing song that just affects me, like, in so many ways. These are the types of songs which, like, convey, like, so many emotions to me that I can't even, like, explain. I can't even be like, this song makes me feel this way. Like, I can't even say that because it's just, it's so much. And, again, just an incredible record throughout, and, just absolutely insane. Number 2 is Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band by the Beatles. I mean, like, for those who know me well, this was my favorite album ever since I was, like, 12. So, I feel like this album, I do feel like I like the individual songs more on What's the Story, Morning Glory, but, like, as an album, this album just, and these are two places where I feel like it kind of goes back and forth for me between Sgt. Pepper's and What's the Story, Morning Glory, and I feel like there's a lot of similarities in the albums, although Sgt. Pepper's isn't really about fame, but, like, the way the albums end, we'll get to it, but I feel like, like, I will say Champagne Supernova was Oasis' Day in the Life, and we'll get to that, but, you know, I kind of see Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, and it's this album, but, you know, it's acclaimed as just, like, great masterpiece, and everyone's like, oh, yeah, that album, and, personally, I think it was the first, like, full Beatles album that I heard. I listened to, like, some of their songs, when I was, like, a kid, but I think somebody, like, got this album from me, like, out of the library, or my dad got it, I don't remember, and then I put it onto, like, an iPod, so, like, when I was, like, 12, 13, I had this album, like, on an old iPod, and I would just listen to it, like, every car ride, every time I was, like, in the car, I would just put this album on, and I just, it was just a great thing. Like, I think I got into the Beatles, like, a lot through, like, their number ones, like, listening to, like, number ones, album or whatever, but then I was like, oh, I kind of like this sound in this era, so my dad's like, hey, you might like this, you know, and I did, and I ate it up, and, it was an album that, you know, was just such a great, you know, album, and I don't think I fully grasped how great it was when I was 12. It was just something I liked, and then when I was, like, 15, I, like, got back, like, revisited, and then I'm like, holy shit, this is the best thing I've ever heard, and, like, like, that is, like, such a mind-boggling, like, statement to make, and, like I said, like, half of my music taste, like, I wouldn't be listening to Oasis, I wouldn't be listening to, like, so many of these bands if it wasn't for Sgt. Pepper, like, this album is incredibly influential, and just, like, literally in the sense I wouldn't be listening to those bands because those bands would not be making the music they make without the Beatles, but also, personally, I wouldn't be into that kind of music, I wouldn't listen to that kind of music if I had never heard this album, and, I don't even, this is the, 2017 remix version, so it's all remastered in a way that's just absolutely amazing. It sounds better than it's ever sounded. Just get this. It's on Spotify. There's no excuse. The 50th anniversary edition, it's on Spotify. There's no excuse not to listen to that one. Like I said, this is just an album that, you know, incredible, and I don't think I can ever go back to the old version. So basically, we all know what Sgt. Pepper's is. It's an entire concept album about this military band, and it's just this, like, and they go all out with the, like, you know, brass and all that kind of instruments, as well as the, like, traditional rock instrumentation, of course. For the Beatles, this was after the Beatles stopped touring, they really wanted to focus on making the best album they could make, and we all know, oh, it was made in 5 months. Oh, there were a lot of themes about childhood with the lead singles, Strawberry Fields Forever and Penny Lane. Those are about childhood. And just, like, and I just, like, you know, the themes of this album being about childhood and, you know, kind of looking back on that, it's not, like, people say, oh, it's a drugs album. Like, yeah, but no. And it's kind of like, I see there's, like, so much, like, about this album where it's just fantastic. I'm not gonna go too in depth because everyone has gone in depth about this album, but of course the title track is an absolute banger. It absolutely rips. It's just got this really great catchy hook. Little Help from My Friends is my favorite Ringo performance on a Beatles song. Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds is a psychedelic classic, and the lyrics are really well written. It's not my favorite sounding song. I do think it's a bit overrated, but still a classic song. Getting Better, you've got Getting Better, which is just a song, again, that's very, like, kind of happy-go-lucky, got that kind of vibe to it. Fixing a Hole, I love this song. It is just absolutely, the, like, riff there, the way Paul delivers it, oh my god, it's such a good song. And She's Leaving Home is a ballad about, I think it was inspired by a news story. And another thing about this album is that a lot of these songs were, like, inspired by news stories. Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds was supposedly inspired by a drawing John Lennon's son did in school. And just taking this inspiration from like, these different things. You know, some girls were, like, running away from home. And this was, like, a very common thing around this time. And my dad said, I mean, his aunt, you know, was like that. And she, like, left home to get, like, she eloped with her boyfriend. And you just kind of see that stuff. And a song like She's Leaving Home, it's from the parents' perspective. And it's like, and this is another really great contrast I love between Lennon and McCartney. You got Paul's, like, absolutely beautiful falsetto, and then John Lennon kind of comes in with, like, the like, kind of cynical take almost. But it's just absolutely beautiful. And the conclusion is, like, oh, she's finally having fun for the first time in her life. Oh, maybe we fucked up as parents, and it's just, like, a great thing. Being for the Benefit of Mr. Kite was inspired by an old 1800s circus poster of all things, and just, again, the instrumentation is insane. The fact that it was on 4-track, oh my god, like, how did they do it on 4-track? Like, it just gets to the end, and it's just, like, the way that, like, the bridge section, it is so innovative just with the music. Then we've got Within You, Without You, which is George Harrison's song on this album, and I've always loved this song. It's got this kind of very dreamy kind of vibe to it. It goes into all this kind of, like, philosophical stuff, and I really like the lyrics and, like, the theme, where the one part it's like, you're very small, and life goes on within you, without you, and it's like, you feel like you're an insignificant speck in the universe, like, when you're listening to this, and it's like, it's a song, the instrumental part, it's got this, like, very, like, Indian kind of instrumentation to it, and, you know, on the, like, it's got this kind of, like, slow kind of sound to it, but then there's the bridge part where it's, like, this instrumental part, and you've got this, like, it's, like, sitar, and then these, like, other instruments, and then you got, like, the strings just come in, and they, like, are, like, interweaving, and it's such a great experience. When I'm 64 was written when Paul McCartney was about 15, or I think, and it's just this very cute song about growing old with someone, and Lovely Rita, a song inspired by a Meet or Made Esau, but god, the vocal harmonies on this are so good. I love the vocal harmonies on this song. So fantastic. Good Morning is a song that I think is very underrated. It's a song that deserves more attention than it gets. It's a song that, you know, is about being bored, really. It's about the mundaneness of life. It's inspired by a commercial jingle, and the parts that are annoying is like, oh, fuck, stupid TV commercial again. And it's like, yeah, people say it's annoying, and I don't really get why the ending has to have just animal noises for, like, just all the time. But I think the song is very well written, the delivery is good, the guitar solo absolutely rips, which was by Paul McCartney of all people. That and the guitar solo on Taxman was also by Paul McCartney, fun fact. But very interesting one. You know, interesting song, but I do love the transition here, where it goes from the rooster crowing, like, and the chicken, to, like, the like, the guitar part for the Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band reprise. And then, of course, the last song on the album, Day in the Life. This is my favorite song of all time. The way it's presented as, like, an encore to Sgt. Pepper's set, it's like, let's make an encore, and then it's the greatest song ever written. It's like, how did you even do that? Like, how? And, like, I don't feel like being, like, hyperbole when I'm like, this is the greatest song ever written. Like, I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me, but, like, just, like, there's something, you know, transcendent about it. It just has this, like, universal wisdom almost. And to me, where I feel like Champagne Supernova kind of has this very, like, specific, like, lyrical sentiment where, like, you know, it's like, there's, like, a thesis there, where it's, like, the world's still spinning around, we don't know why, and that's, like, the thesis of it, like, oh, fuck. And that is, like, the, like, mic drop moment where you're like, oh, wow, like, and, to me, Day in the Life, it doesn't really have a chorus or anything, it just kind of has this refrain, you know, which is just, I read the news today, and you've just got, like, verses that build upon each other, and then you've got the one part before the bridge, and then the one part at the very end of the song, where you got this insane crescendo where they're like, start at this part, go to this part, just do whatever the fuck you want in between, and you got this orchestra, and it just goes up and 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 up, and just completely peaks, and, just, you know, you've got the part where, you know, Paul McCartney comes in with this, like, very different, like, this, woke up, fell out of bed, like, just like, and it is a day in the life, it's just, like, this guy's everyday life, and I love that, because it's, like, taking the, like, profoundness from, like, Lennon's approach to, like, oh, just this guy living his life, and what Paul McCartney writes about, and that, like, one little thing that, like, Paul McCartney contributed to it just makes the song complete to me, and, I just feel like it's such an interesting kind of thing, but, the way he says, like, somebody spoke and I went to a dream, and he's, like, smoking, and to me, Day in the Life doesn't really have, like, a lyrical thesis to it, like, it doesn't have that mic drop moment where I'm like, oh, I get it now, because, like, I read the news today, oh boy, like, that's the refrain of it, and there's a bunch of stuff about really, the only mic drop moment in terms of where it's structured is, like, love to turn you on, which, you know, it's just okay. Like, that, it doesn't really, you know, make any sense. But, and, you know, the lyrics are very well written. Like, of course they are. It's John Lennon. Like, what am I supposed to say? But, like, the lyrics, you know, go talk about all these newspapers, all these different things going on, and it's actually really, you know, really well written, but I feel like Day in Life has this thing where, like, it transcends the need for lyrics. Like, it transcends words. It is so powerful that it transcends words for me. And, like, you've got, like I said, after the bridge, and when he's like, somebody spoke and I went into the dream, and you've got this part where John Lennon, he's just vocalizing. He's not even, like, singing the lyrics. And it's just over this, like, super intense orchestra. And that is the mic drop moment of the song for me. That is the moment where I'm like, everything makes sense and I get it. And it's not even words, it's just vocalizing. Like, there's no lyrics in that part. It's just every time chills. And then, of course, you get, like, one more verse, and then the ending, you know, got the crescendo again. It's just this, they hit this note on 9 pianos to, like, in the song, like, I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, it's so incredible. Like, they took 9 pianos and we're like, this is enough pianos, right? And just, you know, Day in Life being my favorite song of all time. I know you can say it's kind of basic or whatever, but, like, this is just genuinely just great thing. And my favorite album of all time, the most basic pick I could possibly pick, Darkseid and Moon by Pink Floyd. No, I'm not joking. No, I'm not being annoying. This is actually my favorite album. And whereas I feel like Day in Life is my favorite song of all time, Darkseid of the Moon is, like, a sweet, like, it's basically just one, like, all the songs kind of, like, run into each other, and that's why this is my favorite album. Like, if you ask me, like, oh, what's your favorite song from Darkseid of the Moon? It's, like, Dark Side of the fucking Moon, like, the entire album. Like, the first thing I want to say is that this is a perfectly looping record, so, like, the way Speak to Me starts is, like, this heartbeat, this heartbeat, this heartbeat, and then the ending of Eclipse kind of got this heartbeat. It's just, like, the heart beating, and that's how the album starts, that's how the album ends, and I do think it's just an album about life and everything, and it's extremely profound. Like I said, Eclipse, just a song, you know, that to end the album with that. So, Speak to Me, you've got Breathe in the Air, you've got the, like, screaming and the, like, ticking kind of clock. Breathe in the Air, it's just, the guitars are so chill. And to me, this is my favorite album because this is an album I can listen to when I'm sad. This is an album I can listen to when I'm happy. This is an album I can listen to when I want to think about life. This is an album that will calm me during a panic attack. This is an album I can fall asleep to. Like, literally, just the amount of, like, versatility that this album has for me. It's insane. And, like I said, Breathe in the Air is just such a beautiful song. Goes into On the Run, which is basically like crowd noise, airport noise, and it's got this really cool kind of synth going on. Time is just an absolutely fantastic song. The way it starts off with the clocks and all that, it's a song about aging, and it's very profound, and it's you know, if I was gonna say one of my favorite songs of all time, you know, like from this record, is Time, and it's just, it's so good. But to me, really the 1-2 punch of Time and Great Gig in the Sky is like the best thing. And the way it's like the tolling of the iron belly at the end of Time, it's like this person dies, like, oh, their time is up, and then Great Gig in the Sky is like heaven or like the afterlife. And like it's like goes into this and just in fucking incredible. Great Gig in the Sky is one of the greatest things I've ever heard in my life. Like I don't know, like, just, again, it's an example of not needing words. There are no lyrics. Well, the only lyrics in the song is like the beginning of the piano, where they like interview people off the street, and he's like, I am not frightened of dying. Like, that's the only part which has words. And then it's just the girl just ripping out her vocal cords over this like instrumentation, and it's just like insane. You know, I do feel like the album's just, you know, very distinguished into two separate sides, which is, you know, you've got Money, which just, a song, you've got that, like, insane sax solo, you've got this, like, satirization, like, commentary on, like, you know, people who are rich, people who are greedy, and, like, it's just really well done. Us and Them is just a song which has a great, you know, kind of, like, crescendo to it as well. This is my dad's favorite song. And then, you know, you've got the guitar interlude, Any Color You Like, and then the 1-2 punch of Brain Damage and Eclipse at the end of the album, which is just, it's, I don't even have words to describe, like, and I think the part of Brain Damage toward the end, and a lot of that part was about, like, Syd Barrett, but my favorite part at the end, like, it's one of the best title drops of all time. It's, I'll see you on the dark side of the moon. Like, it just, you've got, like, and if this happens, if that happens, you've got this, like, build, and then it's just, I'll see you on the dark side of the moon, and you've got, like, the choir, and just, like, and then it ends, and then Eclipse, just the way it builds and builds, and all that, and it just builds and builds and builds to it, and then it just ends, and it kind of fades out, and then you hear this, like, heartbeat, and that's how the album ends, and it's just, like, I'm sure everybody on the planet has listened to Dark Side of the Moon, but if you somehow haven't, go check it out, I guess. I feel like it's such a silly thing, because I feel like everybody already knows this song, or everybody already knows this this album, but again, just one, like, the great, like, I am comfortable saying it's the greatest album ever made, but it's also just my personal favorite album. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you all soon. Bye-bye.